Well, welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020. It's been a little bit of a break here as I didn't get a new video up on Friday, but life happens anyway. But before we start with the actual show, it's time to go over the results of the mid-year awards, which have been delayed a little bit, basically because I wanted to get some more responses. But, we got 9 responses, plus I did one tiebreaker, which, not as good as last year, but still solid considering there was a bit of a break between the actual end through most of the mid-year and when I actually got this up, so not the end of the world. But regardless, let's go over the results kind of quick here. Well, not super quick because I want to go over them, but, still not take a whole bunch of time. Anyway, so we start with the biggest award, which is Wrestler of the Mid-Year, and shockingly, Shane Helms actually won this with 4 votes. Booker got 3, and Eddy Guerrero got 2. Probably, honestly, some stuff past the mid-year probably helped him out here, as he's been a big part of the show, ironically, since getting injured. But still, big win for Shane Helms. And honestly, Shane Helms becoming Wrestler of the Mid-Year 2004 is proof that you can actually push some good people up to the top in TEW if you have a solid character and good booking for them. For Face of the Mid-Year, we got AJ Styles with 4, Rob Van Dam with 3, and Sean Hair with 2. I mean, AJ's sort of been the rising babyface, and plus people just in general probably like AJ Styles more than, O'Hare or Rob Van Dam historically. So there you go. But good solid win for AJ, and sort of the future is forming up here in WCW with Helms and AJ get some big wins. And for heel of mid-year, we got Booker with 5 votes, Jarrett with 2, Keenan Sharp with 1, and Shane Helms with 1. So big win for Booker, and he's been obviously kind of the top heel as the world champion for most of the mid-year. Moment of the year. So we'll go from the bottom here. So with 1 vote each was Jared and Douglas jumping Flair and Canyon, basically ending the Horsemen, and Jamie Noble shockingly defeating Eddy Guerrero. And then with 2 votes each, we got Los Guerreros and Ray Jr. celebrating with the Mexican crowd at Arena Mexico the night after Showdown in the Sun, and Booker winning the world title from Eddy. And then finally, the winner with 3 votes was Mesias and Morningstar turning on Vampiro with 3 votes. So a good solid win for the Deadpool here. Tag Team Mid-Year was a blowout as Silver City Rollers get 5 votes, Roman Legionnaires still get 3, and Jason Jen Paulin get 1. So yeah, Silver City Rollers have been basically tag champs for the entirety of the mid-year, so big win for them. And when the Wrestler of the Mid-Year is solid win for Gil Kim, as she gets 4 votes. Nikita Colt almost wins with 3, as she was strongly pushed at the start of the year. And Angel Fox and Celine Cartier both get a vote. So there we go. And Character of the Mid-Year winner with Booker with 4 votes as 6-time world champion with Queen Charmel. Running up was Keenan Sharp, who's walking his own self-deluded path, and of course Sean Hair being the defiant babyface, and also with a vote was Angel Fox. And finally, match of the mid-year, which was the one that I actually had the break. So starting from the bottom here, getting 1 vote was Kanan and Eddy versus Vampiro Mesias at a Nitro March. And then with 2 votes each was Eddy versus Booker at Sacrifice, where Booker won the title, Vampiro versus Morningstar at Slamboree, and Eddy versus Vampiro at Showdown in the Sun. But the winner with 3 votes, and I just went by what was actually the top-rated match of the matches I decided here, and it was Booker versus RVD at Wrestle War. That sort of blow up, which Booker won, and set up, a Booker winning the world title, down the road. And just go over some other quick things. So, some things people who want more of is Chavo, O'Hare, Toro, and AJ. Honestly, yeah, pretty much everybody there will get a shine in the next couple months. And who you want to see less of is Ric Flair and Jason Jett. Well, honestly, Flair's, as you can see, is off TV for a bit, and Jason Jett, I'm not going to fire him or anything, but, he's already kind of turned on London, and not a whole ton, he'll be around, but he's not going to be, super strongly pushed as he sort of was during part of this year. But anyway, now it's time to get on to the actual Nitro, the first Nitro of September. Be back with that in just a moment. So, we start out the show with Shane Helms coming out to a big round of boos from the crowd. As, they're very upset, that he basically just, turned, he just basically super kicked Palumbo last week and proved, that he was actually recovered from his injury. And, he started, takes the boos and the crowd says, yes, your superstar has arrived. And after months of being out, I am back at 1% to prove that I am the greatest wrestler in the world and a future WCW World Champion. For weeks upon weeks, I've been able to wrestle and had to interview people like Palumbo and act like I gave a damn when I thought about what they said. When in reality, I was just taking off the moments until I could get back in the ring and prove that the greatest United States champion is the future of professional wrestling. And Palumbo, it was nothing personal, but you're just in my way, and that was just a reminder to you that you're nothing but a second banana. Cue Palumbo's music because he comes up to a big pop from the crowd and he says, Helms, I'm going to make this simple. I'm either going to come down and kick your ass, or you can run away like a little bitch. Crowd pops for that as Palumbo gets down to the ring and Helms says, no. See, I'm not going to get in this ring with you for no reason. I want something out of it. And you can't give me anything for sure. So I want Bischoff to come out here and give me a reason to get in that ring with you. When, of course, I'm only barely recovered from my injuries. And who knows what might happen if I get in that ring and get injured again. Boo, cocky, swarmy heel. And out comes Bischoff and says, well, okay. Last week, as you saw, lots of people were talking about how they deserve to be number one contender or get a shot at number one contendership. And here's what I determined. Jeff Jarrett and Billy Kidman may be assholes. They may be SOBs, but they're right. They got big wins in London. So they deserve a shot to become number one contenders. But I want to make this a little bit more controversial. So, Palumbo, you're Sean's friend, but you're also been a great wrestler. And so I think you deserve a shot to get also change the number one contendership. And Helms is move it along. And then Bischoff's like, but Helms, you've been off TV. You haven't been in the ring for 2 months. You claim you would have beat RVD if you weren't injured. But at the end of the day, RVD pins you 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Pop for that. But, you've been a very successful wrestler here in WCW. So I'll give you a chance tonight. If you can beat Palumbo tonight in the main event of Nitro, then you could get added to that match. And it'll be a fatal 4-way at Fall Brawl to determine who gets the next WWE Championship shot. The reason says, Palumbo says, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'll kick his ass. And Helms is like, fine. Tonight, everybody in this arena is going to find out why I'm your next world champion, whether or not I have to face Guerrero or O'Hare at Halloween Havoc. At 84, Palumbo rolled badly. Hudson was weak at the announcer's desk. And yeah, honestly, not the end of the world, But anyway, we move forward. And we come back from commercial with, and then we have a quick graphic coming off commercial that tonight will be a big tag title rematch between Wright and Chavo taking on Reno and Cash. As Reno and Cash have, basically asked and given a rematch for their tag titles because they've been world champions for so long, but this will be their one and only rematch. As this little graphic gets a 71, and we move forward to the actual match, which has Eric Paris making his debut as a heel, and I forgot to add a new move, but this is basically a squash. It's flying all over, but Paris cheats, takes advantage, and eventually hits a big diving leg drop, and hits the 1, 2, 3 victory, as Paris just gets a straightforward win here, which gets a 63, Eric Paris gets a 60, and Bleacher gets a 50, because honestly, he's been sort of turned into a jobber to the Cruiserweight Stars, unfortunately. But, again, Cruiserweight division will hopefully be rebuilt as part of when I actually do the brand split, and hopefully we'll get a little more time over the next couple months. But then, Eric Paris is celebrating, and he takes the mic. And, Paris basically says, people have been asking me ever since London why I turned on my supposed best friend AJ Styles, why I broke up the team and walked away from it. And here's the simple reason. I brought AJ into this business. Here's the reality. AJ barely knew anything about pro wrestling. He was just a great athlete in the same town as me in Georgia. And he knew a little about wrestling, but he didn't know a whole bunch. But the moment he walked into the first training, people saw him as a star, as a future, and me as nothing but his little buddy. Every show in front of dozens of people in Georgia. When he eventually got to NWO outside, eventually when we got up here to the main roster in WCW and became champion, it was always AJ who was being pushed as the actual star, as the future main eventer. Well, everybody just assumed I would drift away. But I'm not going to do that because I'm the actual wrestler here. AJ may have a whole bunch of talent, but he's nothing but a flash in the pan, and I'm going to prove it. And AJ just comes out and he doesn't even talk. He just goes up and the brawl's automatically on. And these two eventually get broken up by WCW officials. But it seems obvious that AJ and Eric Paris are going to have a reckoning. And that reckoning will happen at Fall Brawl. I mean, not officially, but I'm just going to book it now, because obviously that's what is going to happen. And that's 63, which honestly is about what I expected, because Eric Harris is not the best guy on the mic, and AJ is still, 2004 AJ. And then we go backstage where Jeremy Parash is with the Cruiserweight Champion, Skipper, and he says, every single time I'm in that ring, I prove I'm prime time. I prove why I'm the Cruiserweight Champion, and nobody can stop me. Nobody in WCW can stop me. Nobody in the US can stop me. Nobody on this world can stop me to prove I'm the best cruiserweight in the world. And every single time, I'm going to prove why when I'm in that ring, it's prime time. As you walk with the belt, 42, decent, again, Skipper's not the most over guy, and he's not the most, has the best mic skills. But still, 42 is not the worst promo ever. So there we go, as we move forward. As we go backstage, where Brother Ray and Keenan Sharp are basically facing off, because of course, Keenan Sharp cheated to win against Brother Ray, and after, Keenan Sharp says, I'm going to show you the true path of why a lost extremist like you actually needs my guidance. Brother Ray's like, shut the fuck up, shut up, asshole. Look, I'll find a partner, you find a partner, meet me out of that ring, and I'll kick your ass once again. Sharp's like, fine, I'll find a valid follower who will actually want to walk my path. As I sort of walk away, and a tag match is set up for later tonight. As this gets a 65, further their little mini feud. And yes, the fact of having a tag match is not at all because they have terrible chemistry. Nope, not at all. And then on to our next match, which is sort of like a continuation of a feud that's no longer really going on, but it's been sort of kind of blown off. But anyway, regardless, about didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. The Roman Legionnaires of Swinger and Romeo defeated Sabu and Sandman in 547 when Swinger and Romeo cheat to win, so some, back and forth, flying tags, low blows, and eventually a roll up crucifix, holding the tights, Romeo, knocking Sam to the floor, and a 1-2-3 big victory for the Roman Legionnaires. Not the most, greatest match in the world, but this is getting the Roman Legionnaires over, and, honestly, Sabu and Sandman are Sabu and Sandman, and, they're not, honestly, they're kind of dropping to the stars, let's be all honest here. But, they still have some name value, and they can work decently well together. As this gets a 53, Sandman gets a 54, Sabu gets a 51, Storm gets a 41, and Romeo gets a 39. Again, I don't know, maybe they have, a really low pop cap or something insane, because, I'm continually trying to push them, but they're just not, I don't know. I'll have to figure out something with them, because I do want to push, I really want to push Toro, and these guys are just sort of around for the ride, and I have to figure out if there's anything to do with them, or I have to figure out something new for Toro. But anyway, post-match, of course, Sabu and Sandman actually get beat down with Sandman's own single canes that they grab, and they just beat Sabu and Sandman to the ground as the crowd boos, and Romeo and Swinger walk away to the Weasel crowd, raising their arms in victory as this gets a 43. Good performance from Sandman, though, so, not totally all bad. And we move forward, where Shane Helms is with Reno and Cash, and Helms is, talks to Reno and Cash and says, look, at British Assault, you lost the titles, which happens. Even I, the greatest United Champion of all time, can't be champion every single day of the year. But tonight's your chance to win back the titles that belong to you and prove that Wright and Chavo are nothing but two lucky punks who got a few good moves in. And Cash is like, don't worry, me and Reno, we're going to take them apart, and we're going to show them that there's nothing that me and Reno can't do together and prove we're the best tag team in the world today. And Tom's like, you better. And now, it's like Reno, and of course, what did I call him? Oh, geez, now I forgot. Not Bruiserweight, that's Pete Dunne. Or was it Bruiserweight? Or Bruiser? Man, see, you don't do some booking for a little bit, and you totally forget. Anyway, Cash is not quite a cruiserweight anymore, but beating people cruiserweights up. Anyway, they have a big tag match later tonight as this gets an 84. And then we go backstage where Prince Jose is walking around the backstage area, and he is a random attendant, whatever random person we get in the area to act as an attendant holding up his cape. And he walks up to Stacy Keibler and he says, who's backstage doing Stacy Keibler things, maybe getting ready for a photo shoot or something, or talking to a random backstage person. Regardless, Jose goes up to her and says, "Woman," and Stacey's like sort of like, "What?" "Woman, you're beautiful. You're gorgeous. You deserve to be part. You deserve to be one of Prince Jose's, one of the richest men in Africa's harem, and be one of my attendants, helping me in America in all the ways that a woman like you would." And Stacey just sort of like looks and says, like, "Do you know where you are? Like, this is America. Women aren't just pieces of meat." And as I say, and looks at his, "Well, I see you in bikinis. I see you walking around, harmonically undressed. Yes, you may not be slaves, but you obviously want to be a concubine for a great and powerful man like myself." And then until he walks away, as Stacey just looks confused. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like just a goofy backstage segment promo. Just, what Roy say, it's sort of like a eluded, rich, African king gimmick, and Stacey's available. Stacey's not doing anything at the moment, so there she goes. This gets a 65, and we move forward once again to a fun match and continuing the big continuous feud between these, basically the trio of women, Lexi, Angel Fox, and Lizzie Dumas, and of course, Celine, Jordan, and Tricia Sky. And in this match, in a decent match, Celine Cartier and Tricia Sky defeat Lizzie Dumas and Lexi James in 7:33 when Celine Cartier pins Lexi James with Sis Leve, which is sort of like a, oh god, what's the move called? That is sort of air raid crash. So, back and forth, really solid match, as both Lizzie and Trish are pretty over. So this helps the match be, more popular. And eventually, Lizzie and Trish, get in the ring for the first time, since Lizzie, cost Trisha, the big dream tag team match a couple months back, and they just start brawling with each other. Eventually, things just spill to the outside. Both the other women get tagged in, and both women are former women's world champions, and so they go back and forth. But eventually, Celine grabs Lexi, Slice Leve, 1, 2, 3. Big victory for the baby faces, as this gets a 74. Lexi James gets a 59. Lizzie gets a 71. Trisha gets a 76. And Celine Cartier gets a 59. And post-match, the fight just continues, as all the other women involved on both sides just start brawling, and eventually WCW officials have to break this up, as this gets a 60 and move forward. And then we have the same message we've been seeing for the past couple weeks, and basically the Morning Star saying the message will return sooner than later, and it will be WCW's destruction. 69 is just like sort of like video of Mrs. Morningstar doing Mrs. Morningstar things with Morningstar's voiceover. And then we move forward. I believe it's an actual match, or not. No, okay. So then O'Hare is with Palumbo backstage. O'Hare has his world championship, and Palumbo's like, and O'Hare's like, "Look, Chuck, there's nothing more in this world I want more than for you and me to face off to prove we're both at the apex of our careers, and one-on-one to prove who is the better man. So tonight, go in there and remind Shane Helms why you kicked his ass before and why you do it again." And Helms looks a little nervous, but he says, "Yeah, you're right, brother. Let me just go out and do this." As, they sort of do a quick little, I forget whether fist bump is going on, but do a little fist bump, and then Palumbo walks away, getting ready for his main event match later tonight, as this gets a 72. Basically, it's kind of a way just to get O'Hare on the show real quick. As then we have our tag match, as both men come out with basically, younger, more newer members of the rosters, as about that decent wrestling, but without much heat. Keenan Sharp and Ray Le Pen defeated Brother Ray and Ken Anderson in 7:08 when Keenan Sharp submitted Ken Anderson after blatantly cheating. So, decent little back and forth match. Announcers put over, that Brother Ray and, Ken Anderson is a young rising star, just like Brother Ray used to be. And of course, Ray Le Pen is a cocky, asshole, just like Keenan Sharp, even though, Pen's more of like, international. Starville Sharp's his self-deluded cult leader. And both teams don't work perfectly well together. They sort of like have some moments, but eventually it looks like Ray and Anderson are going to big win after Anderson hits big sort of like running forward roll slam, and Ray just drills Ray Le Pen with a big power bomb, but Sharp runs in and just blatantly breaks up the pin. Things break down. Sharp hits a chop block on Anderson, rolls through, does an illegal choke, but then as ref actually checks on him, changes it to a normal sort of like submission move, And if in order to go, Anderson has to tap out and give the big win to Keenan Sharp and Ray LePen, as Ray is too late to make the save after sending Ray LePen into the sort of guardrail. Like I said, this gets a 56, Anderson gets a 42, Brother Rick gets a 71, Ray LePen gets a 48, and Keenan Sharp gets a 64. And these are the kind of matches you might see a little more on TV, as I'm trying to get like sort of the newer people like Osei, Anderson, LePen, Tolan some TV time without like totally destroying the show rating by having them in one-on-one matches. We'll have to figure out, get these guys more TV time and some time, in with other people who are actually over. And then we move forward with Sharp and Limpy celebrating to the boos of the crowd as this gets a 50. Fun stuff. And then post-match, we have not post-match, but after this, we got a promo with Booker who explains, people asked me, why'd you attack Rob Van Dam when you said you were done with them? Well, our Rob Van Dam, after months and months of me kicking ass, still doesn't respect me. A six-time world champion. So, sucker, I'm not the world champion anymore. But I am going to prove I deserve another shot at that title by kicking your ass all over WCW, Van Dam. And after I'm done with you, you are going to respect me. Can you dig that? Good heel promo. As we move forward, this gets an 86. And then we have our big tag title rematch, which is actually a great fucking match. Like, shockingly good. As Wright and Chavo defeat the Silver City Rollers in 11:09 when Chavo Guerrero pinned Reno. So this is just an all-action, everybody balls to the wall tag match. Like Reno hitting big suplexes, Ray and Chavo actually working well together. Right, Cash like doing some power moves on Chavo. Big double teams from Reno and Cash, including a big sort of like powerbomb cutter combination. But in the end, Chavo is able to slide through, hit Reno with a big brainbuster. No, actually what happens is Wright like drills Reno with the big like sort of single arm angled DDT. Chavo goes up top, frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Your winners and still tag team champions is Wright and Chavo. As like I said, this gets an 88. Cash gets an 84. Reno gets a 75. Alex Wright gets a 78, and Chavo Guerrero gets a 77. Great match and post match. The babyfaces celebrate with the titles to cheer the crowd as this gets a 75. I believe we got one more segment and then our big main event. Right, okay, so you go backstage with Johnny Gorash, with Jamie Noble, who says, last week, Jeff Hardy, you got lucky. I'm going to prove why I'm the best in this business today. And I already beat Eddy Guerrero. I would have beat Goldberg if not for blatant favoritism by WCW officials. And sooner or later, I'll make you tap out to Hardy and prove that I'm on the rise here in WCW. There's nothing a face paint freak like you can do about it. Because I'm Noble and you're nothing. And then Noble and Sable walk away as this gets an 85, really good heel promo from Noble, who's like, sort of like, I got lucky and beat Eddie once, so I'm rising to the top sort of character. Like, I'm still kind of working out, but still getting, figuring stuff out. But really good promo, shockingly. And then we have our main event, which is really good. This is sort of the match here. The match with these guys, Palumbo hitting his power spots, getting advantage, brawling, big lariats, going for the full throttle, but Helms gets out of it. Helms does a low blow, some cheating moves, but also does some high flying, not as much as he used to because he's a heel now. I imagine sort of like a big dive on Palumbo, and then like just beating him down on the outside to regain the booze. Big sort of like, tornado DDT for a near fall, but Palumbo fights back. And it looks like he's going to get the win with the full throttle, but like Helms basically blatantly like puts him in the eyes as he pulls up for him. And then a like basically low blow. And then as he starts recovering, a super kick out of nowhere, which almost gets a pinfall victory. Palumbo barely kicks out. And then, Helms is upset. Ref is talking to him. And then Reno and Cash come down to the ring, but Palumbo actually fights them both off. But that distraction is just enough for Helms to wreck Palumbo with another super kick right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Palumbo kicks out right after 3, but that's not quite enough as Shane Helms gets the big victory and is inserted to the big 4-way match at Fall Brawl. So like I said, in Bout of Super Wrestling, Red Heat, Shane Helms defeats Chuck Palumbo in 1603. This gets a 93. Helms gets an 82. Palumbo gets an 89. And then, so also for the pre-booking, we can officially say this for Fall Brawl. In a 4-way singles match, is going to be Jeff Jarrett, Billy Kidman, Shane Helms, and Chuck Palumbo, with the winner getting a title shot at Halloween Havoc. And then for the post-match, what happens is, Jarrett and Kidman come down to the ringside, and they mostly, want to go after the scraps. So Palumbo's ready for him, because, he did kick out 3, so he starts a brawl. Helm comes over and also attacks Palumbo, gets a 3-on-1, but eventually, Jarrett, wants to hit a move, but then Kidman wants to hit a move on him first, so they start pushing each other. Helm tries to play Peacemaker, so they get mad at him, and that allows Palumbo to roll outside, just for a moment, but then, Helms goes after him, and it still looks like it's going to be a 3-on-1 again, but then Sean O'Hare comes down to a big pop from the crowd to make the save, and it's a 2-on-3, but, baby faces have more power than heels, obviously, and they're about to clear the ring when Eddy Guerrero slips in again from behind, nails O'Hare from behind, and he's going to go for another brainbuster when Palumbo actually takes him out, kicks him, which knocks O'Hare down, and Eddie sort of not rolls out of the ring, but sort of steps out of the ring, and with a cocky grin, heads out to the back while all the people involved in their one-number contendership match sort of heal each other. And that closes things out to a 98. Fun stuff. As overall, we are at J Show gets a 91. So good stuff. And we'll just see if there's anything interesting in the mail. And then I'll be back. Yeah, we'll see if there's anything happen in the mail, and then we'll go to the, what's the word I'm looking for here, because I'm terrible at names. Right, yeah. Loading. Fun stuff. Gotta love the computer loading. Really long time. Okay, interesting. Regal turned heel, which kind of makes sense because he just lost the title. Let's see here. Anything else of mail? Okay, so we got Jerry Lynn getting a 5P offer, WWE making a contract. Okay, interesting. Fun stuff. So let's just see. Anything interesting from Raw? Okay. Okay, so fun stuff, like Molly Hall getting a title shot. I'll go over this more in a moment. Let's see here. So we got Undertaker and Big Show promo, Shaniqua defeating Elizabeth Love, William Regal basically turning heel, Molly Holly defeating Trish Stratus to retain the women's title in 73, Chris Jericho defeating Cody Hawk in an 88 because that's squash match, Shawn Michaels winning a squash match at a 99, Regal, Brock, and Benoit, that's an interesting team, defeating Randy Orton and Bum McGrine in a 99, Austin defeating Vampiro in a 99, and then new improved Team Angle and Billy Gunn defeating Undertaker and Big Show. Yes, a match involving Billy Gunn and the Big Show in 2004 got a 100. But big win for Angle, I guess. But I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. And now it's time for Revolution, live from the Blue Cross Arena in Rochester, New York. And the show starts out with Rob Van Dam coming out and basically calling out Booker T. And Rob Van Dam basically asks Booker T, man, yeah, we used to be partners, we used to be cool, and then your wife convinced you that you were being held down, or I wasn't your friend, or whatever BS she fooled you. But we were done. You beat me. You became world champion. So why the hell are you still up in my business, Booker? And Booker fires back, because you don't still respect me. I became world champion, and you still acted like you were still better than me. So I'm going to beat that respect into you, Van Dam, one way or another. And Rob's like, why can't you get over this fact, Booker? Look, fine. You want to face off again? At Fall Brawl, I'll take you out one more time in that ring, and I'll show you that I'm Rob Van Dam. And one or the other, you're going to have to respect me instead, Booker. And then they basically argue a little more, and it's decided it'll be a 6-man tag later tonight. Rob Van Dam and a tag team versus Booker T and a tag team. And that'll be our main event. 99, really good stuff, RVD and Booker. And yeah, I mean, that's a hot feud. And yeah, it's officially announced that that'll be another match for Fall Brawl. And then we go to the ring. Oh no, first another big main event as Jeff Jarrett faces Jeff Hardy in a big match involving, one of the most popular people in World Championship Wrestling and a man who has a chance to earn a world title shot at Halloween Havoc at Fall Brawl as I get to 74. And then we go to the ring for our opening match. As in a decent match, Dean Malenko faces Jonathan Toro for the television title. And according to Jonathan Toro, he's had a really hot run so far, but he basically, and he's been a former television champion. But, Toro is actually dominating, but Dean Malenko is a crafty veteran, and of course, still one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. Malenko basically, rolls Toro up in some sort of, wacky cradle, small package, and rolling reverse cradle, and barely gets a pinfall victory after 6 minutes with the roll, like I said, and it gets a 59 overall. Malenko gets a 65, Toro gets a 67, and Malenko makes defense number 3 of his World TV title. And of course, this leads to the Roman Legion running in, and it's a 3-on-1. And Malenko fights off a little bit, but it's 3-on-1. And Toro is about to take him out with a spike pile driver when Seek and Destroy hits, and Sting clears the ring with his bat. And there's a showdown between Sting and Toro as we go to commercial, as this gets a 71. And it looks like Sting's here to show Jonathan Toro that, getting involved with Jonathan Toro's business, and the question is, can Sting fight off an empire? And so this gets 71, decent stuff. Toro's getting over, Sting, and there you go. Then we go backstage to Kim and Joni in Eric's office, basically, and she tells him, look, Eric, you brought me back for one reason, and that's because you thought I could be the best women's wrestler in the world and become world champion. That's why you brought me back, and you convinced me that if I could come back, but I didn't want to earn my wrestle for weeks, beating up people who are not as good as I am during that shot. That's why I took out Neidhart, and that's why I squashed Kim like a bug. And at Fall Brawl, I'll do it again. So find me some real competition. And then Gail walks in and says, look, Joni, I admit, I wasn't quite ready for you in London. I should have been ready that you were a force of nature. But week after week, I've been training and I have to get ready. And at Fall Brawl, I'm going to remind you why I'm the head bitch in charge of WCW, and I want to take my women's world title back. Stare down, set up, and we'll heat throwing on this fire for the big women's world title match at Fall Brawl. As this will get to 73 as we move forward. And then we go backstage where Jeremy Rush is with the world champion, Sean O'Hare, as, Boris, asks him about everything going on, including Eddie, Shane Helms, and Chuck Palumbo, and I forgot to put Shane and Chuck off screen. Oh well, shit happens. This is just Sean O'Hare. Helms and Palumbo are not there. Oh well. What can you do? Anyway, so here's, the thing about men like Helms and Kidman and Jarrett is sooner or later, the check is going to come due on their asses. And either me or Chuck or somebody else is going to be ready for Kidman or Jarrett or Helms when the check comes due. But I'm not worried about them right now. Palumbo, Chuck, he's my brother, and he's not going to, it's going to be 1 and 3, but they'll turn on each other, and Palumbo will have as good a shot as anybody else to get a shot at the world title. But Eddie, man, I don't know what's wrong with you right now. I want to face the man who came back here and became world champion. I don't want to face the man who's gone off the handle the past couple months since he lost a fluke match and now thinks he has to go back to his past to get back on top. But that's the man I have to face at Fall Brawl. So be it, Eddie. I'll just prove to you the future is now, and you're not going to take this title off my back, off my waist, just because of a fluke brain buster. It's going to take a lot more than that to keep me down. And you don't have to worry about me taking you down with the Widowmaker. So, Eddie, get your house in order, or I'll get it in order for you. And he walks away. 85, good promo, not a super long promo, but decent length, as we continue to build the big world title match at Fall Brawl between O'Hare and Eddie. And then we have a squash. Like, it's Tajiri killing local talent Xavier in 3 minutes. It's still with the Rimmaster, but it's still a saw kick. Like, Xavier gets a little bit of offense, but this is just complete domination from your United champion. This gets a 63, Tajiri wins in 3 minutes. Tajiri gets a 73, Xavier gets a 31, and just a complete squash here. And Tajiri celebrates as he enters put over, another impressive victory for the United States champion, Ishiri Tajiri, as this gets a 71, and we move forward. And then we're backstage, where the Chosen Few are backstage, and Jeff Jarrett is hyping his men up and saying, tonight's going to be a banner day for the Chosen Few, because all those slapnuts out in the audience will realize just how great we are. Johnny, you and Mark are going to go out there, and you're going to beat not only the Hart Legacy, but Storm and Awesome, former tag team champions, and prove that your time is now in the tag team division, and that we're the elite force in professional wrestling right now, and there's absolutely nobody that can stop us. And then I'm going out there, I'm going to show that face painted Freak Hardy that this is my company, and there's nothing he can do about it. He can flip, flop, and fly all around, but he's just going to end up at the business end of a stroke. And then there's a, coffin, and the heels turn around to another group of heels, and Kimmon's like, it's interesting you think that your two punks are going to take out a former multiple tag team champions. Look, Awesome and Storm haven't been in the tag division for a while now, but it doesn't matter. It's like getting right back on a bicycle, except they cause destruction. So yeah, Hart Legacy, those two Canadian dorks will take care of them, no problem. But you guys, you stay out of our way if you know what's good for you. And, simply, Divine's like sort of like a scrappy, hyper. He's like, no. You guys are old news. You guys are failures. It's our time now. You had your time in the sun, and it's time for the Chosen Few to prove we're the top. And then there's yelling, and, Jarrett's like, look, Kimmon, we worked together because it was good for both of our business. But now we're done. Tonight, both our teams are fight, and hopefully Hart Legacy will get torn apart. But it's also going to be a preview of what's going to happen at Fall Brawl when I become number one contender, and there's nothing you can do about it. Kimmon just sort of checks and says, well, Jarrett, you don't want everybody in the back polishing you up anymore. So it's going to have to come down to actual talent, and we just know. And I know I have more of that. And so, more heel shenanigans of the heels not getting along as we build up to the big four-way and our big three-way tag match later tonight, as this gets a 90 and we move forward. And then we go backstage where Tank Tolan is with Dawn Marie, and they basically cut a quick heel promo saying, he has been here in WCW for a little while, and he hasn't faced any real competition. He wants somebody in that ring ready to fight him, so he can prove not only he is the sexiest athlete in World Championship Wrestling, but the greatest young competitor right now. And Dawn Marie says, I chose Tank for a reason. That's because I can see greatness in his future. So somebody get in that ring sooner than later so he can show exactly what he can do. 51, decent little promo, just give these guys some TV time and, push them a little bit more. And then we have another women's match as the sort of feud between the, basically the rest of the women's division does not Gail Kim or Jordan Lawler or European Union continues as Angel Fox defeats Jordan Cole in 556 by pinfall using wrist leverage, but she basically, cheats to win, exposed turnbuckle, Angel snap 1, 2, 3. This gets a 57 as it's a little short. But Cole gets a 49, Angel Fox gets a 51. Wait, did I forget? No. Okay. Why was this not as good as I thought it was? Okay. Poor momentum, hot crowd. I forgot Angel Fox has an awful gimmick, so I might have to fix that. Anyway, 57, decent little match. And of course, post-match, there's a post-match brawl between, so Cole recovers pretty quickly and goes after Angel Fox. But of course, the other members of our heel group comes out, Lexi and Liz, and just, take out Jordan real quick before walking to the back, as this gets a 61, as this heated feud continues between, basically everybody in the women's division who's not currently getting a title shot at Fall Brawl as we continue to move forward. And then, coming back from commercial, Chavo and Alex come out to the ring and says, okay, we didn't want to do this in public, but Eddy, you haven't returned our calls, you haven't talked to us, so, and I know you're back there, so, Uncle, please come out here and talk to us. After a moment, Eddy comes out to a big mix pop up. Like, still some cheers because it's Eddy Guerrero, so he's going to be cheered, but some mixture of boos because, he has attacked, or tried to attack Sean O'Haire multiple weeks now. He comes out to the ring and says, well, what do you want? I was like, what do you want? Look, when he came back and brained, Noble with a chair to help us win, that wasn't exactly what we wanted, but, they cheated us a bit, so, what's good for the goose is good for the gander and all that. But you attacked Sean O'Haire for no reason after you became number one contender. You're a wild man with awesome before you had a match. Like, Uncle, what the hell's going on with you? And Eddy fires back, Holmes, I'm doing what I need to, nephew. And you should know that. This is the way you were taught. We're a family values. I was like, yes, I know what you're trying to say. Do whatever you can to win. But I thought was in the past. I thought we had moved forward and done something better. That's what you had told me when you came back. And that's why I did what I did when you came back and teamed with you, and now I'm teaming with Alex. And he's like, look, Chavo, you and I know better than anybody else. The rest of your uncles, they didn't always wear the white hat. They wear the black hat if that's what they need to do to win, especially in places where Guerreros weren't welcome. And right now, WCW doesn't want me as world champion. They want their shiny new young piece of meat who they can put on TV, put in commercials, who will be nice and appealing to everybody watching TV. They don't want they don't want Eddy Guerrero as world champion. And Chavo's like, no, that's not, you don't think this. Bischoff can be an asshole. But you don't think he would be fine to have you as world champion? And he says, you don't. And Alex steps and says, look, I understand frustration. And Eddy sort of fires back, look, I don't even know why you're out. In fact, Chavo, I'm very sure the reason why you're so upset at me because this guy has been pumping you full of BS. Yes, you're tag champions. Congratulations. But we could have done that. And it would have happened even quicker. Chavo was like, look, Eddy, Alex is my partner. We've done a lot of great things together. So don't act like this. Eddy, like what, your uncle? The man who you should respect? Not some tag partner who showed up out of nowhere? Look. Alex, showed up out of nowhere? I was here when you disappeared and helped your nephew become a tag team champion. He's like, oh, so you think you're better than me? No, you're world champion. I haven't. You're a great wrestler, Eddy. You're going off the rails. And says, oh, you showed me off the rails and push back. And Eddy's like, fine. Chavo, you think your tag partner's so special? Nitro, I want his ass in the ring. And Chavo's like, no, come on, we don't. And then Alex said, fine. We're Eddy. I'm going to prove to you that you're not doing anything the right now when I defeat you on Nitro. And then there's a stare down as Chavo tries to keep them apart, as it looks like we got Eddy Guerrero versus Alex Wright on Nitro, as this gets a 94. Fun stuff. And actually really good considering, Chavo and Alex are over. They're getting over, but they're not the most over, and obviously they don't have the best charisma or mic skills, but still really good. And then have a quick backstage segment as Booker talks to AMW as, also as part of that angle, I forgot to mention because I got in the talk to, and Eddy even mentioned, look, you're going to team with RVD for no reason when you should be talking to me, ready to be team with me. So that's just tip is there. And Booker basically goes right AMW. It says, look, if you guys be my tag partners tonight, you'll show WCW officials, Sucka, that you can get another shot at the tag titles. AMW says, fine, but we're not going to get involved with your BS with Rob Van Dam. You fight him, we'll take care of the tag champs. And if you can't, sorry about your damn luck. Booker says, that's fair, Sucka. And no, actually it says, I can dig that. Just You handle your business, and I'll handle mine. 73, decent little like short segment as we move forward. I said as we move forward, game. There we go. So, in a bout that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, the Hart Legacy of Teddy Hart and Jack Evans get a big win, defeating Mark Jindrak and Simply Johnny Divine and Awesome Storm in 10:08 when Teddy Hart pins Simply Johnny Divine. I forget what the open heart surgery is, but like, flippy moves all over. Johnny Divine does some high flying. Storm does some technical stuff. Awesome throws around both members of the Hart Legacy. Let Jindrak do some power stuff and some cheating to get the advantage. But eventually, the heels basically like turn on each other, go after each other, and it allows Hart Legacy to recover. And eventually, like I imagine, like Awesome hitting a huge Awesome Bomb on Divine. But then both baby faces coming in and hitting up like some wacky flying move to knock Awesome to the outside. Open heart surgery by Teddy Hart. 1, 2, 3. Huge victory for the baby faces as this gets an 80. Divine gets a 61. Mark Jindrak gets a 74. Jack Evans gets a 77. Teddy Hart gets a 57. Mike Awesome gets an 86. And Lance Storm gets an 84 because they're pretty awesome. And post-match, the baby faces celebrate, including Natty, as the crowd cheers as this gets a 52. Fun stuff. And then we go backstage where basically all the women involved previously are just fighting, like either yelling at each other, fighting on the ground. And Eric walks in and says, like, with, various officials and breaks them all apart and says, look, competition is great, but this is getting beyond competition. This is just going way out of bounds what we need. So we need a way to finish this off. And on Nitro, I have a way for this can be finished, and it'll be a big announcement. So all of you better be out there and be ready for it. And then Bischoff walks away, just, sort of sighs and just walks away as, all the women are basically staring each other down as this gets a 59. And then we have Borash with AJ Styles as he says, Paris, he wasn't lying about everything. I'll be the first to admit, I'd watched wrestling, but I wasn't a huge fan of it when I started this business. But I grew to love this business. And I thought, yes, that's true. Me and Paris, we wrestled in front of little crowds, bigger crowds. Eventually we got to WCW, and I thought we were great as a tag team. We were multiple time tag team champions and one of the best in the world. But I got other opportunities, and I thought Paris was God for me. But obviously, he was always upset about it. And Paris, buddy, I'm going to prove to you, everybody was right all along, that I'm going to rise to the top in WCW, and you're just always going to be a bitter little prick. And then he walks away. 83, good promo for AJ as we build up the AJ Styles Air Paris match for Fall Brawl. And then we have our semi-main event, which is a really good match. Actually, probably, honestly, better than I expected. So, in a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, Booker T and America's Most Wanted defeat Rob Van Dam and Bright and Chavo in 11:59 when Chris Harris pinned Chavo Guerrero with a catatonic. So let me see here. Nope. Okay, no heel. Oops. Okay. Never mind. We can put that aside for the moment. Obviously everybody knows that's going to happen, but I don't know why that would pop up at this point. Anyway, and about that good wrestling, good heat, Booker and AMW defeat RVD and Ryan Chavo in 11:59 when Chris Harris pins Chavo Guerrero with a catatonic. So fun little, back and forth match. Just hot, quick stuff. Everybody getting their spots in, things break out. Booker and RVD brawl to the, basically on the ringside area, and that allows Harris to slip in, hit Chavo with the catatonic out of nowhere, and get the huge 1-2-3 victory after, there's a hot little tag sequence between both teams. But in the end, Booker and we get the big win over RVD Ryan Chavo at 11:59. This gets a friggin' 90. It was a really good match. As Chavo gets a 79, Alex Wright gets a 79, Rob Van Dam gets a 93, Storm gets a 72, Chris Harris gets a 69, and Booker T gets a 90. And move forward. Oh, right, okay. So, Eddie, right. Oh, right, okay. Right, okay. So, this is why that happened. So, Eddie came down to ringside during this, and basically Chavo yelled at him, and that was just a lot. That was just long enough for Harris to able to slip in and catatonics. Of course, post-match, everybody argues. Alex and Eddie almost start fighting, but Chavo stands in between them. As this might also be too distracting for Eddie as he's getting ready for world title shot at Fall Brawl. As this gets a 74 as a short little segment. And then as Jeff Hardy is coming down to the ringside, down the ramp for the main event tonight, Ebony and Sable just attack him from behind, get a few big good shots on him. Sable throws him to the guardrail before WCW officials chase him off, but Hardy still gets in the ring for his match as this little segment gets 71. So Jarrett comes down, and you can imagine, this is the typical, heel, breaking down Hardy piece by piece. Hardy gets a bit of a face, comeback, but he's been attacked beforehand. So Jarrett goes back on the offense. Jarrett locks in the figure 4, but Hardy gets out of it. Hardy goes up top, actually, is able to hit the Whisper in the Wind, but he's, basically knees buckle when he goes up for the Swanton and falls off the top rope. Jarrett hits the stroke, but Hardy gets his foot on the ropes. And then, basically what happens is actually Chuck Palumbo comes down the ringside after Kidman comes down the ringside, and they start fighting. And that distracts Jarrett long enough for Hardy to hit Twist of Fate and hit the Swanton Bomb, but Jarrett rolls out of the way as Hardy takes a minute, just a second too long to steady himself and his knees, and then boom, stroke, 1, 2, 3. Big victory for Hardy as 15 minutes, 87, really good match. Hardy gets a 91, Jarrett gets a 90. Did I forget to add? Okay, nope, nothing too bad. And then overall, the show itself gets a 91. So 2 good shows in a row, really building up, the big 4-way, the world title match, the sort of Eddie being Eddie, AJ Air Paris, and other fun stuff like that. So we'll see if there's any interesting mail. And then we'll go over some of the stuff that's been happening in the rest of the wrestling world, and then that'll be that here. Okay. Anything of note? Ernest Miller, because he's on. All right. So, nothing of note for here. So to go over first, WWE. So for SmackDown, let's see here. We had Austin defeating Regal by DQ. So here's the thing: is I meant to, when I had control of WWE, to put Austin on vacation, and then set up things for his retirement, but I forgot to do that, so I'll have to do that sort of off screen, but still nothing too big. Triple H and Chris Benoit get the big win over Val Venis and Christian in a cage match, which gets a 99. Scott Steiner defeats Randy Orton in a 97, which is interesting. Billy Gunn wins a big 4-way, defeating Kane, DDP, and Steven Richards in an 85. Scott Hall, Chris Jericho, and Edge defeat Rikishi, Saturn, and Al Snow in an 89. And that's about it. Nothing much of note. So that was SmackDown. And then if we go to the other, so the other big show, I believe was, where are you? New Japan. And New Japan actually had their G1. Actually, let me see. Did this also happen? So New Japan actually had 2 big shows right now. They had Lions Fight, and then they had the G1, which is interesting. So first, Lions Fight had, let's see here, matches of note. The Funkster defeating Roderick Strong. We had Chris Candido defeating Rob Rage. Wing Kanemaru defeated Big Vito. If you're wondering why he's not part of my Urban Legion stable. Cody Katahara, Naoya Agawa, and Masato Shibita defeated Bobby Roode, Mr. Wall Street, and Takami Isawa. So that's an interesting 6-man. Megan Tokyo defeated Katagora in a 64. Sakuraba and Silver King defeated Kashin and Chris Hero in an 80. So there we go. Liger defeated Insana Inui in an 85. We had Fujita, Don Fry, and Masaru Chuno defeated Nishimura, Nakanishi, and Tanahashi in an 85. Choshu defeated Super J in a 54. Yikes. Sasaki defeated Hase for the IWGP title in an 88. And in the main event, the Bat team of Muto and Kea defeated Iizuka and Nagata in an 82 to retain the tag title, so they did some bad placement as far as the match goes. Big win for Sasaki as he becomes a 4-time IWGP champion, ending Hase's really long reign. And then for the G1, let's see here. So for the actual matches of note, so trying to figure this all out. So okay, so Hase defeated Azuka, Nagata defeated Liger in a 97, Sakuraba defeated Don Fry. Right, that was part right. Okay, and then Chono defeated Nishimura. And then you have a bunch of other singles matches, which we can say were part of like the final days. So Silver King defeated Chris Hero, Kishin defeated Magnum Tokyo, Tanahashi defeated Shamrock in 87. And then right, hold on. So Hase was not part right, okay. Right, Choshu Nego was just a random match. That was not part of the tournament. Okay. So in the semifinals, Hase defeated Chono in a 73, Nagata defeated Sakuraba in an 84, and then in the finals, Hase defeated Nagata for the G1 Climax title, which is probably not the best booking, but, what can you do for the game? So this got a 76. And then first go over our what we're looking for, to go over our shows. Our dev feds, let's see here. Rick Michaels defeated Claudio in a 50. Tony Jones and Kai Graves defeated Trevor Rhodes and Stone Matt in a 41. Travis Tomko and TMT defeated Shannon Ballard, and Adam Jacob and Killswitch defeated Shane Ballard and Lazarus at a 58. Again, worse shows because we've taken up the best of the best up to the main roster. And then sort of for the weekly house show, we had Marcus Miltech defeating Sensiaki in a 62. John Phoenix defeated Tony Jones by DQ in a 54. Chance Profit defeated Keith Walker in a 58, which is interesting. Let's see here. Lazarus defeated Jimmy Raven, Kai Graves in a 65, and Adam Jacobs defeated Jason Cross for the NWA Wildside title, which I mean, there are people signed because they just don't have the stats for it. And then for our women's dev fed, they had their, let's see here. Yeah, so they had their weekly show, which had, let's see here, Vanessa Harding Mischief to Becky Bealis and Ariel in a 48. But Kim Nielsen defeated Allison Danger in a 54. But Nikki Rocks defeated Malahi Osaka in a 54. And Shiro Lumisa retained the AWQ title over Lacey and Roni Jonah in a 55. And then for Ladies' Night, we had, let's see here, Roni Jonah and Ariel defeated Mischief and Bonnet Maxon in 51. Nikki Rocks defeated Osaka in 56. Annie Social defeating Lacey in a 55. And Chiro Mosa defeated Kim Nielsen and Vanessa Harding to retain the AWQ title in a 52. So fun stuff and decent shows, especially considering, again, I've taken the best of the best from there as well. And let's see here. Anything of note in the other dev feds? So nothing of note really in for HWA. Cena Indy got a win. Chuck Taylor defeated Logan Kane. Excalibur defeated Ricky Shane Page. And yeah, that's about it of note. Barry Bradburn got signed by the WWE, so that's interesting because he's a regen. And then for OVW, let's see here. Anything of note that you guys would care about? Charlie Haas defeated Mafia because he got moved over to OVW by me. Christy Ritchie retained the Devious title, defeating Shane Taylor in a 35. Yikes. Let's see here. Riptide defeated Sarah Stockton in 53. Joey Ryan defeated Joey Matthews. Homicide and Spanky retained the tag titles, defeated Rob Conway and Tony Luke in a 66. And Justice, also known as Abyss, defeated Ruben Constantino. And in the other match, we had really nothing much of note. Danny Doring defeated Steve Bradley in a match of the long-term developmental guys for WWE in a 49. Rico defeated Chemo in a 51. And yeah, that's about it of note. But that's it, basically for now. Continuing the road to Fall Brawl, I think, this week was really good build-up, everything considering. But that's it for now. So if you enjoyed the show, give it a like, comment below on what you're liking and not liking, and of course, subscribe to the channel for TW content like this and other fun stuff. But that's it for now, so talk later, and adios. Have a good one.